So a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about me thinking about giving my biological father a dad name, and I did that a couple of days ago on his birthday. Why has he not had a dad name before? There are so many reasons. First, him and my mom were going through a divorce whenever I was born, and at some point, when I was a couple months old, I wasn't seeing him anymore. I don't know. It was his fault, my mom's fault. I'm not going to go and ask any stories. I just don't want to hear whatever their conflict was between them. I'm going to accept where we are today. Anyways, my daddy, who I call daddy, is actually my stepdad. And I called him at first when I was really little and started talking. I called him Papa. And then I started calling him daddy when my little sister, Rebecca, was born. And she started calling him daddy. And I don't remember calling him Papa. But my mom said I called him Papa up until my little sister did. But my daddy passed away. He had cancer. And he passed away a little less than 3 weeks before my 7th birthday. And then after he passed away, like 2 months after he passed away, I get a phone call and I answer it on the house phone, and it was my biological dad. And he's like, "Who is this?" And I told him who I was, and he's like, "Well, it's your dad." My mom was pretty upset. I was not very happy. I didn't want to have another dad. I saw that there was anything wrong with him, but it was still super early and I was still grieving my daddy. And it was way too much. It was way too much for me, and it was the wrong timing. I think that if I would have had my time to grieve, and then my mom was like, "Hey, I heard from somebody, they want to, reach out to you and stuff," I think it would have gone better. But, what's done is done. When I met my real dad, he was totally different than what I had known as a daddy all these years. Like, my daddy was just like, he had like the dad shoes and the Ashes Wash jeans and the college t-shirts or a football sweatshirt. I don't know. It was just very dad. I don't know. It was just the image that I'd associated with dad. And the first night that I met my biological father, he was wearing big black boots, black pants, white button up, and a big long black trench coat with his hair slicked back. Like, it was a shock to me. It's just a totally different image of what I had for daddy in my head. I wasn't really warming up to him at first. It was just so weird. It was just so weird that out of nowhere, like, you still have the chance to have a father. I don't know. It just didn't sit right with me. So I called him Ralph. And for a little bit, I think that he was okay with that, but I don't think that he really was. And I'm going to tell you something that he swears he didn't do. And it was a long time ago, but it's just like one of those things, like if somebody tells you you have fat kneecaps or something, it's just like one of those random things that hurts your feelings just right, or makes you feel a type of way that it's just something that you never forget. Anyways, Ralph, my biological dad, had taken me and my little sister to the circus. And I got my face painted like a Dalmatian, and I was on the news, got to be interviewed and all this stuff. And he had asked me if I had a good time. And I said that I did. And he was like, "I'm not going to do these things for you anymore unless you call me dad." And I was just like, I didn't like it. To me, it made him feel yucky to me. Like, it made me feel like I couldn't trust him. And so I was just in my head, I was just like, okay, well, I'm not going to do what I don't want to do just to get things. Like, I don't care about things. And there was another time when I was a little bit older, and I went to go visit him in San Antonio, and I had bought him a Happy Father's Day card. And when I gave it to him, he had showed my grandma, and it said, "Happy Father's Day, Dad," or something. It was a Father's Day card. And my grandma was like, "Can you read this to him?" And I knew that she wanted me to read it to him because it had the word dad in it. And I was just like, I really don't want to. And for a good minute, she just really pressured me and tried to get me to do it. And then I felt guilty for not wanting to do it. Also, rewind a little bit. Whenever I was living in Virginia, we went rollerblading on the beachfront. And we had sat down on the corner to take a little break. And Ralph asked me, he goes, "Why do you call Tommy Daddy?" And I was little. I was 7 or 8 years old, and I feel like I gave a really big girl answer. I was like, "He's the one who put me to bed and spanked me and told me he loved me and kissed my boo-boos. And I just feel like he was always there for me all the time. And so that's why I call him Daddy. I know that it kind of, and probably always will in some form, hurt his feelings. But I never did it to hurt anybody's feelings. I never called my daddy to spite him. I never not called him Dad to spite him either. It's just the way how things happen. And so I've never called him. I never called him Ralph. I never called him Dad. I just didn't call him anything. I mean, be like, hey, come look at this. This is so cool. But I would never, ever put a name to it. And eventually, a couple years back, he just really quit putting pressure on me. And I think that's all I really needed was for people to quit putting pressure on me for a while, quit making me feel guilty for not doing this thing that I wasn't ready to do. And so this year for his birthday, I called him and I was like, happy birthday. And I was like, I know you've been waiting on this for a while, and I just wanted to know how you feel about me calling you Pops. Like, is Pops okay? And he was like, yeah, I just whatever you're comfortable with. And I'm glad that he said that, because I think it took him a while. If he's being truthful with himself, it took him a while to get to that place where he just kind of accepted things for the way that they are. But I also feel good inside because Pops feels comfortable to me. Although he is my dad, my biological father, Dad and Daddy are taken. Whether that person's here or not, like, I could never give those names to somebody else. But Pops, I can give him Pops. Because it feels right. And he's good to me, and he's good to my kids. He's a great grandpa, and our relationship is exceedingly more than what it ever was when I was little. And so, yeah, we landed on Pops.